So today we're going to talk about pool safety and the dangers you need to consider if an incident does occur. So anytime you go to someone else's premise or someone's home or hotel or whatever it may be, they have a legal duty to ensure the safety of their premises, right? So if they know of any dangers, they're supposed to warn you of those things. They're supposed to make it as safe as possible to ensure that your time at their establishment is as safe and secure as it can be. This, of course, includes common areas and definitely swimming pools. Swimming pools can be so much fun, right? We can enjoy ourselves, have a great time, but they also can be riddled with danger if we are not very careful. So what does an owner have to do if you own a pool and you're having other people come over to enjoy? There's an obligation called duty of care, where an owner must maintain safe conditions and provide adequate warnings for any potential hazards or dangers. So if you know of any kind of an issue, you have a duty to disclose it to people so they are aware of the situation and circumstance. So you've got a duty of care, right? Where the owners have to maintain safe conditions and provide adequate warnings of any potential dangers. If you know something, that there's an issue, you gotta say something. And make sure that people are aware of any potential risks should they decide to use that pool area. You must provide reasonable and adequate supervision under the right circumstances, right? So if you've got 50 people over to go enjoy your swimming pool, you better have some safeguards there. You better have training there. You better supervise it and make sure that things are reasonably safe, right? While there's no kind of guaranteed standard, but are your actions reasonable as the owner to make sure that anyone who uses the pool has the safest experience possible, right? So that they're not exposed to excessive dangers. So signage is absolutely encouraged, right? If you know about any particular issues, a dead spot here, a hole over here, you've got to put adequate signage to protect people from any potential dangers. And then also, you should probably also think about doing it in different languages, should you know that people who use your pool speak different languages. As an owner, you have to be aware of these circumstances. Routine inspections. If you own a property, it's your job to make sure it's safe, which means you have the obligation to inspect it, to check it, to make sure that things are as they should be. That is your responsibility. Clean it, check it, make sure it's working according to standard practices. What emergency procedures do you have in place? If there is a problem, you gotta be ready. What are you gonna do? What's the process? Do people know what to do should an incident occur? As an owner, you gotta be ready for these types of scenarios. Depth markings. If you know the pool is 3 feet over here and 8 feet over there, you've got to clearly mark and delineate this so that people are aware. So make sure those signings and the marks are very clear and apparent so anyone can understand and know where the safe areas are. So proper lighting is really important, especially around pools and cement and people running around. So if your area is well lit, it makes sense that you can see more and discourage unsafe behaviors. So one of the biggest issues and problems that you have with regards to pool areas is that people slip, fall, hit their heads, and that's when you can have potential traumatic brain injuries. So having slip-resistant surfaces is really important when you can have them, right? As the owner of the property, you got to think about these things because, again, if you're going to have people coming over, you have to consider these things in case something happens. Now, this is an important issue also. Drain covers, right? People don't think about it that much, but you see situations where some drain covers are not compliant because someone's trying to save a few dollars. And then sometimes the worst things happen. People get sucked down, they can't escape, and they end up drowning because you decided to save a few dollars on your project. You have to be very vigilant and careful about these situations when you're figuring out what's going on in your pool area. Make sure those first aid kits are around. Look, if you're in a pool, people are gonna get injured, right? And so have those kits around so that anything that does happen, you're prepared to give someone a bandage or spray them with an ointment just to minimize your potential risk. If you're going to have a pool, it's incumbent upon you to test that water quality, right? You want to make sure it's up to standard. I like to have someone come every week to make sure that it's cleaned, that the levels are proper, and that you're taking adequate precautions to make sure it's safe. So as the owner of a pool, right, you need to take as many precautions as you possibly can, okay? And one of the things that I always recommend is you restrict that pool as much as you can. You know, one of the things you can do is put up pool fencing, right? Some kind of a security barrier to keep kids, for example, from falling in a pool, or people that may have been inebriated, so that to minimize those types of accidents. Make sure that the gates, that if you do have gates, that they're self-closing, that they're self-latching. It's not enough just to have the gates up there, right? You got to maintain it. Make sure that, well, I had the gate up there, but the latch wasn't working properly. That is still going to be your responsibility. You cannot go halfway with these measures. If someone just walks in and because the latch was broken, you still hold yourself up to be responsible for any accidents that do occur. Even if that person wasn't supposed to be on your property. That's scary. But probably the most important thing you need to do is find an attorney that is skilled in this area, that you can trust, to talk through, hey, what do you think my rights are? What are the obligations of the other side? What do you think I need to do next? It's important that you have an attorney that is going to share strategy with you and have a common sense with you with regards to here's what our goals are, and this is what we're looking for. So hopefully this has been beneficial to you with regards to pool safety. And if an incident does occur, what you need to do. Like, comment, subscribe, give us your thoughts with regards to what you want to hear. And as always, I'm your attorney, D. Miller, and this is DLAW.